It's official. Josh Sweat is a Detroit Lion. That headline alone has already sent shockwaves across the NFL and turned Motor City into the epicenter of speculation. You can almost hear the roar from Ford Field just at the thought of it. Welcome back to Lions Nation Fan Report, your daily stop for every rumor, every whisper, every dream that could change the destiny of our team. Smash that like button, subscribe right now, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Because if this move ever happened, we would not just be talking about a signing, we'd be talking about a seismic shift in Detroit football history. Josh Sweat isn't some random name floating in free agency. He's a proven pass-rushing force, a Super Bowl star who has shown he can shine brightest on the biggest stage. Just this past season, he finished with 8 sacks, over 50 quarterback pressures, and then turned Arrowhead into his personal showcase with 2.5 sacks on Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. That wasn't luck, that was dominance, born from years of honing his craft in Philadelphia's fierce defensive line rotation. And now imagine him in Honolulu blue. Imagine lining him up opposite Aiden Hutchinson, our franchise cornerstone, the relentless motor who already commands double teams. Hutchinson pulls the attention, and Sweat, he feasts. One-on-one matchups suddenly become mismatches. Tackles, who could barely hold their own against Hutch, now have to deal with a second monster coming off the edge. That's not just adding depth, that's building nightmares for NFC North quarterbacks. Think of it like geometry. Hutchinson collapses the pocket from one side, Sweat bends and arcs from the other, and the quarterback is trapped in a shrinking triangle with no exit. That's the formula for turnovers, for defensive dominance, for a Ford Field crowd that turns into a thunderstorm every third down. But this isn't only about sacks. Sweat's game is about versatility. He's got the length to bat down passes, the speed to chase plays from the backside, and the discipline to set the edge in the run game. Pair that with Hutchinson's relentless effort, and suddenly Detroit's defense looks not just solid, but terrifyingly complete. You can see echoes of what San Francisco has done with Nick Bosa and his rotating partners, or what the Eagles themselves built with waves of pass rushers. The Lions have dreamed of that formula for years. Sweat could be the missing ingredient. Of course, let's talk about the financials. Reports peg Sweat's market value around $18 to $19 million annually on a 3-year deal. In the modern NFL, that's practically a steal for a player who just terrorized Mahomes on the biggest stage. He's not commanding Myles Garrett money, but he's giving you near Pro Bowl production. For a front office that has carefully built through the draft while making smart veteran additions, this is exactly the type of move that screams ambition. Without recklessness, there's already chatter about him as a natural successor to Zadarius Smith. Detroit knows that to maximize Hutchinson's prime, they can't leave him stranded. He needs a partner in crime, someone with pedigree, someone who's been through playoff wars, someone who won't blink under the brightest lights. Sweat checks all those boxes, and think about the statement it would send. For decades, Lions fans lived in the shadows, carrying heartbreak like a second skin. From Barry Sanders walking away too early, to Calvin Johnson retiring in his prime, to Stafford battling without enough help, the story has been pain. But under Dan Campbell, the tone has changed. Grit isn't a marketing slogan, it's a new DNA. Signing someone like Sweat would be the loudest declaration yet. These Lions are done being the NFL's punchline. They're here to build a defense that terrifies opponents. Picture the rivalries. Imagine Sweat on a freezing December night at Lambeau, blowing past the right tackle and planting Jordan Love into the turf. Imagine him collapsing the pocket on Kirk Cousins in Minneapolis, forcing errant throws that the secondary can pounce on. Imagine him racing off the edge at Ford Field in January, the building shaking, the playoff hopes of an entire city riding on his ability to finish a play. These are the moments Sweat lives for, and the moments Lions fans crave. Still, let's not get carried away without a dose of reality. Sweat is a free agent, yes. Detroit has the cap flexibility, yes. But this isn't a done deal. It's a possibility. A dream that depends on timing, negotiations, and whether Sweat sees Detroit as the place to cement his prime. Right now, it's speculation, a tantalizing what if. But speculation matters. Because speculation is where belief begins. When Lions fans allow themselves to dream, the atmosphere changes, just like when Hutchinson was drafted, just like when Campbell's wild speeches turned doubt into devotion. Imagining Sweat in blue and silver is about more than stats. It's about hope, identity, and the kind of swagger this franchise has been missing for decades. The truth is, defense wins championships. We've seen it again and again. The Ravens lifted Lombardis with relentless fronts. The 49ers have ridden their defense to the top of the NFC. Even Mahomes, as magical as he is, only gets his rings because his defense holds when it matters most. The Lions are building an offense that can score, yes, but pairing Hutch with Sweat would finally give Detroit the defensive teeth to finish games in January. And let's not overlook the cultural fit. Sweat isn't flashy. He's not a diva. He's a grinder, a worker, the kind of player who shows up and lets his game speak. That's Detroit football. That's what Campbell wants. That's what the fans respect. Bringing him in wouldn't just upgrade the roster. It would reinforce the very identity of this new Lions era. So, where does that leave us? In the tension between dream and reality, on paper, Sweat to the Lions makes perfect sense. The fit, the price, the need, the culture. In reality, it's still just a rumor, a spark waiting to catch fire. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But even imagining it has value because it fuels the fire of a fan base that refuses to settle for mediocrity anymore. So, I'll leave you with this, Lions Nation. Is Josh Sweat truly the missing piece? The final gear that transforms Detroit from a tough, gritty contender into a true champion? Is he the force that finally makes opposing quarterbacks dread coming to Ford Field? The reason NFC North rivals tremble when they look at the schedule, the edge rusher who turns close games into decisive wins? Or is this just another offseason mirage, the kind of headline that flares up in March and fades away once contracts are signed elsewhere, leaving us to wonder what could have been? Because let's be honest, we've seen this movie before, rumors swirling, hope rising, only for reality to crash in. But something about this one feels different, doesn't it? Something about pairing Hutchinson and Sweat feels less like fantasy and more like destiny waiting to be claimed. And that's where you come in, Lions fans. Your voice, your belief, is not just background noise, it's the pulse of this city. When you roar, the team feels it. When you demand, the front office listens. When you believe, the narrative shifts. If you think Sweat is the answer, if you think he's the piece that pushes us over the edge, say it, shout it, claim it. Because this franchise has lived too long in silence, too long being told to temper expectations, too long being told to wait. This is our time, and the conversation starts with us. So drop your comments, make your voices heard, because speculation is only the beginning. Belief is the spark. Momentum is the fire. And trust me, in 2025, the roar in Detroit has never been louder, never been stronger, never been so ready to shake the NFL to its core. This isn't just about Josh Sweat. This is about who we are as a fan base, about what we demand as Lions Nation. The question now is simple. Are we ready to believe